Do not deceive yourself that there is a leadership in this country looking after you. There isn't. For the sake of the latecomers, let me repeat. I, Adewale Adebayo, I'm a Nigerian. I'm from Ondo State. I'm running for the office of President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in the election that is coming next year, 2023. You know already, and they talk to me, and I know for journalists, they are not used to presidents of my type. They are used to people who come with walking stick to the press conference, and all of that are surrounded by people who have hijacked the resources of the country. But for the ordinary people, you know, they are used to it. They'll be clamoring for it for a long time, and they do not want people who have mastered and got experience in doing bad things, who will say, well, give me this chance, you know I'm bad, but I won't be bad for 4 years. No, they want people who have opened their lives and they are relatable, and you can question what they've done with every minute of the day, from the day they were born till now. There's no mystery about them. I was born in this country in a hospital with they are there. Even some nurses who were around when I was born, they are still around now. So I've done education, primary, secondary, university, postgraduate in this country. I've got to law school in this country. I practiced all my life in this country. I practiced overseas as well. So my life is open, and I'm talking openly. And I think that not only me, for every office that's available, I encourage even some of you who are holding cameras and pen here, that you should think seriously about whether holding camera is enough, whether you should not even go to your community now and take mantle. Do not deceive yourself that there is a leadership in this country looking after you. There isn't. There isn't even. If there are 10 people in the federal government who are there gathered together in the interest of Nigerian people, the country will not be like this. If there are 10 people in a state who are gathered in government houses looking after the people of their state, the country will not be like this. So if you do not take the mantle, you think you can be blaming people. I grew up blaming Babangida and Abacha. Abacha is dead. Babangida is in Mina. I cannot go and arrest him. He's finished his. I am now seeing that we are blaming Buhari. Let me explain something to you. Blaming Buhari is not enough. The Buhari has his farm in Katsina, and he has given you the GPS address of his farm. That on May 29 he's going to his farm. So if you bring the wrong person next time, you will not be able to blame him. At a time in this country, the worst person on the planet was President Goodluck Jonathan. Now we don't mention his name anymore. We mention Buhari. The same way Buhari will also escape and go to his farm and go and rest. And then the next person will come. So you need to take a break from blaming people. You need to take the challenge and go and talk to the generation.
Okay, sir. Are you right?
The insecurity, I will tell you, is the greatest challenge facing the people of Nigeria. Of course, we have issue of poverty, we have issue of hardship, but I think people would want to be alive first before they worry about whether they can eat. So I think insecurity is a major problem, and the root cause of insecurity is also the root cause of economic problem. The root cause of insecurity in the Northeast is the same root cause in the Southeast. It's the same thing in the Northwest, in the North Central, and in the Southwest and South-South. That root cause is called bad governance. If you don't have a good government, every symptom of that bad governance will manifest and mix with some cultural or environmental condition and look like it's a different problem. But a sick body sometimes will have temperature, sometimes will have a boil or two or many boils, sometimes will have change of color, sometimes your eye will change, sometimes your voice, sometimes you can't walk, sometimes you have convulsion. But the root cause is the fact that the body is not healthy. In this country, the government is the head, and the head is sick. And our bad governance is now morphing into no governance at all. So if you get the government right, You have the armed forces right. You have rule of law right. You have equity and justice. When you have all of these together, it's like breaking a fever. When someone has a fever and they are convulsing, they are rolling their eyes, they are whatever is happening to them, if you give them the right medication, the temperature will come down. Later they will sleep, they will be able to eat, and then you will say the person has regained their health. So don't let us treat the symptoms just one by one. You have to have a good government in a country, and a good government does not mean a president who shouts all over the place. It's someone who is alive to their responsibility, and the responsibility of the government is very small. First, the people in government must respect law and order. Insecurity in Nigeria, the root cause is the government. There is no bandit, there is no hooligan, there is no terrorist that can be bigger than the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So in many countries, if you study it, not only in ours, where you have instability outside, the instability is from inside the government itself. So I will come in and ensure that the commander-in-chief respects the office, lives true to the office. In the appointment of police IG, chief of army staff, chief of the naval staff, chief of the air force, and all the other services, director general of the Department of State Security, NIA, DIA, whatever, that you put as number one, number two, number three, competence, dedication to duty, and patriotism. These are not positions you use to settle political favors, ethnic favors, religious favors, affinity, and friendship. And if you look at that and you comply with that, you will inspire quality, merit in the armed forces and the police services, because they will know this person who is there is one of the best in my set, is one of the best in our group, and this person can lay his life down for the country. You cannot tell a soldier, a sergeant who has 2 babies and a young wife, to lay his life down so that a general can buy himself a mansion in Metama. He is not stupid. You cannot say that the people should obey the law if the police that represents the president of Nigeria has to collect 20 naira, 500 naira by force. So what if you speak to the young people who are promoting answers? Do they see a difference between an armed robber and a policeman with a gun? They don't. Because anyone who can carry a gun and collect what belongs to you by force is an armed robber. It's more annoying when the armed robber is also blacklisting you and calling you a criminal on top of your innocence. So these are not problems that need extraterrestrial interpretation. These are issues that the president should not go to bed. When we said that the children or young people and adults and old people who were supporting answers, we were talking to them that they should give the government a chance. Is it not over a year now? Is the government saying they are going to be given a chance? Have you seen any change? Can you go to your farm and carry cassava in the boot of your car now and drive around Nigeria, and the policeman will not ask you for a receipt for the cassava? And if you bring some money, would that not be equivalent of a receipt for them? So we should not make things esoteric. To be commander-in-chief is 90% for you to be a good citizen. If you're a good citizen who obeys the law, who respects the office, you will be able to go there with your conscience and get the job done. Secondly, you need to be a serious-minded person who takes every assignment you are given seriously. You want to study it. Then you will not have time for all the useless things people do around. Turbani every day, wedding every day, doing funny things around. You would, if you go to the State House and go to government offices all over the country, the number of visitors that come there, the nature of the visitors, what they discuss will tell you how executive time is wasted in Nigeria. So, and if you waste executive time, whether you are president or you are a street sweeper, you only have 24 hours in a day. And if you spend 9 hours of that receiving the campees to your party, taking photos with them, and doing other silly things that don't help you, and you have people all around you who are canvassing for people to come and visit you, and none of them has to do with the matter of state. If you are involved in self-imprisonment inside the villa, you do not go out to scenes of events. You do not. It is said in many of the holy books, you cry with those who are crying, and weep with those who are weeping, and rejoice with those who are rejoicing. That is the job of the head of state.
Okay.
So it's not rocket science. Even rocket science now is mastered by children.
Okay, sir.
Not the reason why I'm running. I have confidence in Nigerian people. The electoral system put in place has been put in place because those who set it up do not have confidence in Nigerian people. They do not want to be questioned. They do not want to be voted freely, because they know in a free and fair election they will be wiped out. So they've set up this obstacle as legislative coups and judicial coups and all sorts of coups against the people. Since you know how we got independence in 1999, it was transition to civil rule halfway, because the military had things that they wanted to be done and things they didn't want to be done. But since then, the civilians who have taken over have actually been worse than the military. So they want to have a system where they determine from the lowest level to the highest level that the voice or voices of the people will not be heard. So what I think is the panacea to that is that if the people wake up, because a burglar will be very happy if they know the house is sleeping or is out of the house. So if the Nigerian people wake up and they don't need to do anything more than you get yourself a very good PVC, you keep it by your side. Luckily enough, it can be used for banking transaction and many other self-identification. And the same way you go to the church every Sunday or go to the mosque every Friday, the same way you go for crusades, night vigils, same way you go to job center to go and register for your examination, the same way you do anything in the country. On that election day, you spare that time. No matter the sunshine, the rain, the obstacle, you go out and select a candidate of your choice. And if you do that and stay there to get counted, none of this will happen. What has been happening in Nigeria so far is that the system is made so problematic, so uninviting, so disillusioned that people say my vote will not count and I'm not going to come out. And when you don't come out, then ghost voters will take care of the rest. So all you need to do in Nigeria today, you don't need to go out of your way, is to follow the debates going on, zero your mind on a candidate of your choice, get your PVC, talk to your neighbors. You have to own your politics. If you don't own your politics, you'll be owned together with your politics. So that's what the people need to do. There's nothing there. The good people are in the majority. It is a mathematical insult for 90 not to be greater than 10. So all of those who are involved in the status quo, all legislators, governors, even the president and his co-travelers, are less than 9% of the electorate. All you need is for the electorate to say we are awake and we will take over the democracy for the good of the people. So I have confidence in the people, therefore I have confidence in what we are going to do. Those people who are crying in the National Assembly, they are hypocrites. And I'll give you the reason why they are hypocrites. We started the issue of giving the country a good electoral act. I'm sure many of you will have seen that on October 1, 2014, 2021, I was at one hotel, I don't want to mention the name so that it's not a commercial, in Abuja, where we had a conference on electoral bill. And the things we canvassed that National Assembly should put in the electoral bill, because of the selfish interest of people in National Assembly, they did not put many of them. Now, even the little they have put, which is for them to survive the overlordship of their governors, the governors kept lobbying, and those who have self-centered ideas in the presidency also lobbied the president not to sign. Now, the bill was kicked back to National Assembly. They removed the things that the president complained about and sent it to the president. Now, whether the president is going to sign it or not depends on whether the president wants to be the president of the people or wants to be the president of politicians. And it is a question of whether President Buhari wants to have a legacy that people can remember him for. That, I cannot help him with that. But what I can say to Nigerian people is this: we need a good electoral act. The electoral bill sent to the president is not one of the best, but it's an improvement over the one we are using now. And pressure should be made and put upon the president to sign this electoral bill now into an act. And if we put that pressure, which I will continue to prove, that it should sign. But let me say something clearly. It is an unserious country that signs electoral bill every election. Some countries have been using the same electoral bill, electoral act, electoral law for decades. What we need to change is to realize that the electoral act which we are using now has not expired. What we are doing now is an attempt to improve upon it. But what we need to improve upon the most is to improve upon our character, because everybody has a role to play. I am a candidate now. I have a role to play, whether I want to do money politics or I want to do issue politics. Money politics is easier if you can find the money, but issue politics is better for the country. For those who are party functionaries, they need to make up their mind whether they want to do politics for the country or they want to do a bazaar or harvest season from various aspirants and candidates and cause commotion. The same thing for the media. Whether you want to cover those who have the big money or you want to cover those who have the big ideas. That one does not depend on Buhari. That depends on you and the editors and the owners of your media houses. The same thing with the voters. Whether you want to collect 5,000 or you want to collect good government in 4 years, it's up to you. That does not depend on the Electoral Act. The same thing with the policeman. Whether he wants to make money now from those who are snatching ballots and live in that terrible police barracks and his children have no future, or he wants to respect the law and let people vote and let the vote count. So I don't want a situation where we point fingers. I don't point fingers. All I know is that the president should sign the Electoral Act at least to be able to live up to his oath of office, which says that he will protect the interests of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But for me, I can only advocate. The second thing I can do, which is even more important to me, is that I can run my campaign in an honest, credible, and competent way that will show to people that if we entrust the country into his hand, this man is going to make wonders out of the opportunities.
Yes. My name
Very lobbying the president not to sign the electoral bill. Remember, INEC said he's hanging whatever they want to use.
For the past 2 years with the people of Nigeria. Consultation is even easier to do for someone like me who has always been with the people. The people who are most concerned and most affected are the people who are in the rural areas and motorists and commuters who travel on our dangerous highways, members of the armed forces and their families who have to receive unpleasant news from time to time, and hardworking, patriotic Nigerians in law enforcement and the armed services who have to lay their lives to implement programs and strategies of the Commander-in-Chief. The consultation shows to us that left to the people, the insecurity in this country will be over. But this is a country where by law, and for many legitimate reasons, the citizens of the country are not allowed to take law into their hand. And we do not have a right to bear arms in Nigeria. Therefore, the security of the country is vested in the government. So the consultation that we have been having with the people is on how they can assist the government to provide information, to cooperate with the armed forces and law enforcement, and when the inevitable happens, not to take the law into their hand and not to lose faith in the country. No one can accuse the people of Nigeria that they haven't done all of that. So it was square back to the role of government and to the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. Our Constitution has vested all these war and peace powers in the President. And only one President we can have at a time. And it's the President who will set up the occupants of the security architecture. It is the President who will direct the apparatus of state. And there is no way you can talk honestly about the state of insecurity without appearing as if it's a direct indictment of the Commander-in-Chief for incompetence. And unless the Commander-in-Chief admits that what he's doing is not right, somehow he's not gotten it right, and he needs to get it right. So what my constitution has led me to is that I must constantly work with the present Commander-in-Chief, offer advice, volunteer information, keep nudging. And I think if anyone has looked at my activities, including my recent activities in the so-called shadow cabinet and in the press releases and commentaries I've been making and many private visits, no one can say I have not offered the incumbent government sufficient support. I always urge Nigerians to cooperate with the government, but it is more difficult to ask the government to cooperate with Nigerians. Now, all I can do is to find out what is going wrong. Remember, the present president is not the first commander-in-chief that we've had in these times when we have these insecurity issues. We had President Goodluck Jonathan, whom we roundly condemn for indolence and incompetence in many areas. And I think it amounted to one of the reasons why in 2015, some people, including those on my right here, and many people in the country, went to support President Buhari. That the military experience and the fables and legends built around him as a no-nonsense man of war was going to help us. But I think evidence before us, which we cannot deny, is that he hasn't helped us much. And it doesn't appear that he can even help himself. So in that situation, we need to talk to people to rally around the government, because even though President Buhari is the incumbent president, the country does not belong to him. The armed forces are not his, even though they are under his command. They are the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So we should do everything what we can to encourage the government to wake up, to prioritize the welfare and security of Nigerians, to not give everlasting life to the careers of non-performing commanders and heads of services, and not to use this position for patronage, to see that the continuity and the tenure of any service chief or sector commander or anyone who is in high command of any of our services is based strictly on outcomes, and that the resources of this country, of which an enormous amount has gone into the omnibus heading of security can actually reflect more on the field than in the bank accounts and personal welfare of senior officers. And that the Ministry of Defense is not just a heaven for contractors. It's actually a place where the national defense takes priority. And a situation where there's so much demoralization in the armed forces, where subordinate officers, rather than cooperate with the leadership, are actually doing the politics of succession. And the questionability regarding the strength of our forces needs to be addressed very seriously. So these are the issues that I think, as Commander-in-Chief, I'll pay attention to. And those are the issues that any serious Commander-in-Chief needs to know. Now, with respect to the issue of platform, it's very clear that I'm running with the majority of Nigerians. And the majority of Nigerians are neither PDP nor APC. So I will not run with PDP and I will not run with APC. I've also realized that there is a lot of commonality in discussions and beliefs when you are dealing with Nigerians. That somehow they've managed to fraction the populace to following 18 political parties. So one of my initiatives, along other compatriots, is to see that we form a coalition. And I spend more time on dealing with this issue of coalition than just promoting my candidature. Because I believe that if people who have similar beliefs, facing the same fate, in similar circumstances, with no conflict of interest, with no divergence of interest, can't come together to articulate a position, then we are not taking advantage of the issues at hand. So we decided that we should have a coalition, and we have coalition talks. We are reaching the end of these talks, and very shortly, for those who are in the leadership of the movement, we will announce different combines and coalition, and I will run as a candidate of this coalition. So that is what we're trying to do. These are not times when you are coming to build on any legacy. So there is nothing in APC that I honestly can say I am building on their legacy. And there is nothing in PDP in which I can say I'm building on their legacy. I cannot build on the legacy of mismanagement, of failed promises, of misbehavior, of lack of law, lack of order, lack of ethics. And you will have seen that if we were doubting whether I was wrong, if you notice what happened recently in Ekiti State, where the two parties have displayed the worst kind of indiscipline, dishonesty in just the selection of the governorship candidate in Ekiti State. And they are even planning worse in Osun. You can imagine that they are already rigging their own convention. For example, the APC is not my party, and I don't really have to spend too much time on them. But they've been under an illegal occupation of an amorphous, shapeless, CC. When you look at the leadership, it sounds like a Chinese company. CC or something, convention, planning, whatever. So it's all attempt to rig themselves into power, that they don't even trust their own membership to be able to select the candidates for them. PDP, of course, you see that they use ex parte court orders to change their entire executive, and they distribute the dollar to calm everybody down. So there's no way you would think that the president of the future will emerge from such misbehavior. Because the challenges facing this country now is to have a digital pathway for young people to go to power and prosperity, power over their own lives, and to live reasonable lives. For Nigerians looking for just simple middle class life, they have to cross the desert to go to Europe. They have to go to embassies and submit all kinds of papers and submit themselves to all kinds of situations. Families are sending their children abroad for so-called postgraduate degrees are just an excuse to send them away from what they consider to be a very terrible country. And we're a good country. We have all it takes. So I think people like us should come out and say, thank you all but we need to have a president of the future taking power on behalf of the people of the future. Thank you. You know, the office of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is not an office that someone should lightly aim for, because every Nigerian is your constituent. Every polling unit is your polling unit. And every ward, every local government, every state, every zone is yours. And if you don't do anything at all, you must ensure that you reach every voter. And if you reach every voter, and you reach them in three ways. You reach them to let them know you, let them know the problem of the country, and let them know your solutions. You also reach them to become active and to participate and to own that politics. Because people I expect to vote for me are not people who are voting for me per se. The people are voting for solution to their problem and voting for the future of their children and grandchildren. Thirdly, you also encourage them to form communities, because democracy is done in groups. There is no one-man democracy. Democracy is done in groups. So when you do this, the issue of the esoteric aspect of democracy will go away. What has been happening in 1999, and if you're as young as I am, and those who are younger than me, you will assume that what we have been doing since 1999 is politics. It's not politics. What we have been doing in 1999 is obstruction of the electorate. The powers that be and the elite in power, they get annoyed when their tenure wants to expire. So ahead of that, they set various obstacles. They use every institution of the state. They use the executive branch, they use the legislature, they use the judiciary, they use the fourth estate of the realm, which is the media. They use even my profession, the legal system, to make sure that nobody can arise from the people and collect this power from them. And that is what we'll be calling politics. What we are trying to do now is to have a movement that comes from the people, that builds from the people, and then can present anyone who is qualified in the eye of the people to go and lead the country. And it is a novel thing, but we have to do it because the future of this country depends on it. There is no way you can know what is going on in this country that you will not be scared when you wake up in the morning. Of course, but when you see the potential that the country has, you will be mollified and you'll be confident. But it is not a small task. It is not an office you seek by printing posters and putting them in major cities and talking to your friends in the media and going on morning shows and you're not getting people involved. What we have as a resource are the people. If we don't have the people, we lose. If we have the people, we win. We don't have any other apparatus that we are going to use. And you will see that in our movement, in what we are doing, we will be a laughing stock for some time. But when the people rise and they see what the people are doing, then they will realize, just that the way they were shocked when they saw NSAS, they saw boys who were yoppy standing in the rain for 3 days, in the sun for 4 days. They realized, oh, young people can do this. So it's not just about nightclubs and wearing jeans and trousers all over the place. That young people can actually be angry over issues, serious over issues, and that's how they are going to see that every polling unit become an NSAS location. And they are going to realize that we really want to challenge the problem and find solution to them. There's nothing funny anymore about this country. There is nothing you can say, well, maybe give a chance. Buhari was the last card of the elite because they sold him as a solution. They sold him as a man who doesn't even eat unless every child in Nigeria is eating. A man who does not touch $1. A man who if government money is missing, he will shoot everybody. They sold him as anything. People were trekking thousands of kilometers just to see the face of this man from heaven. So they have played that trick. They fooled us for the last time. It's our turn to bring them a Messiah now. Since they have brought their own Messiah, the Messiah is in trouble. The Messiah said he is devastated. The last statement made by President Buhari when 200 people were killed in Savannah is that he is devastated. So if the sharpest man in the elite is devastated. It's time for us to take over. Thank you.